Welcome in, everyone. This is the Fantasy Overtime presented by Broadway Sports Media, partnered with 440 Sports. Welcome into this Sunday morning live stream. As you guys can see, I'm Justin Graver, and I'm hosting this morning's show. Typically, Zach Lyons hosts the show, but Zach couldn't make it. So on this morning's show, we have Ryan Watson joining me from the Flex to give you all your fantasy advice. Ryan, how you doing this morning?
Doing wonderful, man. Thanks for having me on. Hopefully I can fill in for Zach and provide some great advice because it's tough shoes to fill when he's going 98% correct on all those picks.
Zach is unbelievable, irreplaceable, but we will do our best to soldier on without him today. Let's talk about some start-sit info. Let's talk about some inactives and people who have been ruled out really quick while we let a few more people roll into the stream. Send in your questions, guys. We are here. The main purpose of our show this morning, 10:30 a.m. Central Time, is to answer your last-minute fantasy questions. Is Aaron Jones going to play? We'll find out. What are you going to do without Joe Mixon? We're going to talk about it. So first, let's run through really quickly who's in and who's out. I'll just read it off. John Brown for Buffalo is out, along with Dawson Knox. Curtis Samuel is going to be a game-time decision, but probably won't go. Joe Mixon is out. That's pretty big. Austin Hooper had an appendectomy earlier this week, and now he's going to miss the game. Aaron Jones is most likely going to miss the game, although he's expected to test his calf in pregame. If you got Jamal Williams, if you don't have Jamal Williams, you should try to get him. Jamal Williams is going to be a huge play against Houston's terrible run defense. Michael Thomas is out again, so the Saints will go again without Michael Thomas. That means Alvin Kamara is going to be a target monster yet again, and pretty much a must play in every format. Let's get to it. We got some questions here. We got a question already from Ben Wright. 1 point PPR, need to start 2. Melvin Gordon, Jerick McKinnon, or Jamal Williams. So we just touched on Jamal Williams. I'll throw this to you first, though, Ryan. What are your thoughts on these other guys?
Yeah, Jamal Williams is the must there if the Aaron Jones news goes like we think it's going to. So you have to monitor that. So he's my one with a bullet there. But then if between the other two, then I'd be tempted to go McKinnon just because of how active he can be out of the backfield. Really, I mean, obviously, if Jamal Williams is the backup, your choice is easy. It's Gordon and McKinnon. But if Williams is going and Jones is a scratch, then I'm going to probably recommend McKinnon and Williams.
I agree with you there. I'm probably taking Jerick McKinnon because of what you said. Raheem Mostert was out. McKinnon was pretty much the guy there. Raheem Mostert's out again. Jeff Wilson was questionable heading into this game. I'm not sure actually what his status is. So monitor Jeff Wilson's status. But I do think regardless, Jerick McKinnon's the play here. The rookie, JaMychal Hasty, I don't think that you have to worry about him taking too many touches away from McKinnon in this game. So Melvin Gordon, I'm probably not. I mean, Denver running backs, we have a thing against Denver running backs here, so we just can't
he's as much as you'd like to say he's going to be a threat, but the PPR thing kind of throws it off for me because they really lean on them. Plus, you've got Phillip Lindsay still there, also eating things up. So I'm not bully on the Broncos system and then the matchup for PPR.
Ryan, you have some fans.
I do. Hello,
the
Patrick.
New guy is hot.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate it. My wife
while we wait for a couple. Oh, here's a question. Let's get to it. For my flex, this is Titans 16-0. I like the prediction there. For my flex, Jamal Williams versus the terrible Texans or our boy AJ. That is a tough one. What do you think?
I hate to have similar advice, but I think you have to monitor. I think if you want to be safe here, and if you have to make the decision now and you don't have time to sit there and monitor the news and see what's happening with Aaron Jones, I think you have to go AJ here and see, because I actually think that AJ is going to have a pretty decent day today. Now, in your boom potential, I think Jamal Williams could be in for a bigger day if he's the starter. So that's my advice. I think if you're wanting a guaranteed point level and you just want to get something consistent and about what they're projected, go with AJ. If you want something that's going to boom, then I would go with Jamal Williams.
I agree. AJ is obviously the number one target in the Titans offense, but we haven't really seen this offense very much with everyone healthy playing together. I don't even think since week 1 was really the last time. And even in that game, AJ Brown wasn't 100%. So
he had a knee. His knee was still bothering him. He tried to give it a go. He's a gamer, man. I would see what the offense looks like with all those weapons, though.
And I also think with Mike Hilton out for the Steelers, their number one nickelback, Cameron Sutton's going to be playing a lot more. I'm worried that the Steelers defense is going to do some bracket coverages on A.J. Brown and force Tannehill to look elsewhere, hoping that their pass rush can get to the Titans quicker, because obviously the Titans offensive line on the edges could struggle in this game. So I look for a lot of quick little passes to the slot. I think Adam Humphries is in line for a big game today from the Titans. But to
Just
answer
don't
your
expect any
question,
yards after catch.
well, he won't need him. He's catching it in the end zone these days. Jamal Williams, though, again, if Aaron Jones doesn't play, I think Jamal Williams is going to be the number one rostered player in daily fantasy this week. He's just going to be huge because Houston's defense is terrible. We saw Derrick Henry run for 200 yards against them. So, yeah, keep your eye out for Aaron Jones news, but I think he's going to be inactive. How about you I'm going to ask you now to answer one of my questions while we wait for more to roll in, which is mostly just a decision I have. Deontay Johnson and Chase Claypool. I picked them both up. Picked up Claypool. I drafted Johnson when Deontay was out. I picked up Claypool, and now I'm like, which one should I roll with? They both have the same matchup because they're both playing the Titans defense, just giving up so many points through the air. I just don't think that Claypool. I'm rolling with Deontay Johnson. What do you have?
Yeah, so this has been one of those things where I could answer it better if I knew you needed bigger points. So I would say take the risk and go with Claypool because he's the one that's potentially going to explode, right? So if you are a gambler, I would go with Claypool because he may be able to get you those possibly long, deep shots and possibly a long touchdown to go with. I'm not sure if your league does bonus points for longer plays and that kind of stuff. And if it does, then Claypool would be the one I'd lean to, but you have to live with the results, right? Because again, I think that you have a more consistent option versus a bigger chance for a boom option. But that's the problem with big boom options is they also have a opportunity to also be bust because you're relying on those big plays. And if those big plays don't come, or if they decide to go a different way, or if they get up early, a lot of different factors there. It's just too much. I mean, the consistent option, if you're just wanting to get a solid 10, 12 points, then go with your consistent option.
The other thing I'm worried about with Johnson is that the last 2 games he started, he hasn't finished. So I've gotten like 1 point, and then I'm like, what's Johnson doing? He's out? He's out? What? Again? Why? So that's been annoying. I might roll with Claypool just to get away from that possibility.
Yeah, and if that's the case, I mean, because Claypool has sparked, and it's one of those things where he sparked a couple games and was not quiet, but not up to what he had been. So maybe he's up for another boom game today. So, I mean, I'd be real tempted to gamble and roll with Claypool.
I think I probably will do that. Let's move on to this question we got from Austin Hunt. This one is really tough for me. Robby Anderson versus Terry McLaurin. Terry McLaurin going up against the Cowboys, who can't stop anyone from doing anything. And Robby Anderson, who's been heavily targeted by Bridgewater this year, going up against New Orleans defense, which has also been pretty susceptible to the pass. I mean, Marshawn Lattimore has been bad this year, like straight up bad. I love both these guys, but I would probably go with Scary Terry. What do you think, Ryan?
So when I look at a situation like this with 2 guys who have really good matchups, you have one who's eating up the targets and one but doesn't have as good of a matchup, but still decent matchup. And you've got Scary Terry who's got an unbelievable matchup, but the quarterback situation, I mean, it's one of those things where I think you have to factor in who do you like better quarterback, Kyle Allen or Teddy Bridgewater. So I think that needs to guide a lot of decision and do some research there because Bridgewater has been pretty good this year. Now, Kyle Allen is given a spark, and obviously Terry McLaurin seems to be, every time we say don't start him or we say, hey, he's going to be bad, he turns around and has a monster game. So maybe the fact that I'm leaning away from him means you should go with McLaurin because of that fact. But my point is, I think if you look at the 2 quarterbacks, I'd be real tempted to go with Robby Anderson just based on who the better quarterback is and who has the better matchup.
I'm playing both of these guys in different DFS lineups. So I'm in on both guys. I don't think you can go wrong.
You can't fit them in the same DFS lineup.
I actually did not put them in the same one because
you have time.
There's bigger receivers out there. Hopefully that helps you. We didn't really answer. I mean, this is a coin flip for me.
I'll answer it. Robby Anderson. That's a coin flip.
Everyone, yeah.
I'm leaning Anderson.
If you feel more comfortable or you think you're gonna have more fun with one or the other, that's the one I would go with.
Yeah, which game are you gonna watch? Maybe that's your factor. Which game is available for you to watch so you can actually root and have some fun with it? Because it's really close. I think it's really close. Watch them both get 15 points and we're good.
Another question in here from the Notorious 13. He did follow up by saying this is PPR. So Adrian Peterson, Phillip Lindsay, I'm guessing Le'Veon Bell or Melvin Gordon.
All right,
not great options.
I don't like any of them, but do you have to just have? I don't know if he just needs one or 2.
One.
Just one.
Yeah.
Okay, so what worries me about Peterson is Swift, right? And how he's been
coming. I think Peterson's toast. I think you got to be done with Peterson.
And you already got your 2 problems with Lindsay and Gordon that you're talking about in the same lineup, and I don't. love Le'Veon Bell today because
Hate him.
how is he fitting into that offense? We don't know yet. Plus, the way they ran Clyde Edwards-Helaire last week tells me they're not going away from the rookie. So, oh man, maybe
think has
vulture some early touchdowns and goal line situations and stuff like that.
Bell vulture touchdowns?
No, Peterson.
I don't think so, dude. I would roll with one of the Denver backs. I think I would probably go with Philip Lindsay here. Melvin Gordon may have a better shot at getting a touchdown, but this is a tough. You're in a pickle here, Mr.
Yeah, this is a tough one. I hate that these are your options, but I think I would probably go. Yeah, just
Lindsay because it's PPR.
Yeah,
I think that's where I'm going. All right, let's get to a question here. Oh look, Zach couldn't make the show, but he's got a question. Non-PPR, Deontay Johnson, Damian Harris, or I got ahead of myself, or Marvin Jones. Start 2. We just talked about Deontay. He's still leading Pittsburgh in targets when he plays. So I think he's the one I'm definitely going with out of these 3. Between Harris and Marvin Jones, I think you got to go Marvin Jones today against Atlanta. I mean, the Broncos' run defense has been pretty good. The Patriots' offense, maybe they bounce back and you could be okay with Damian Harris, but I feel like like between Harris and Jones, whoever scores a touchdown is having a better day, and I don't know which one that's going to be.
You're talking to a big Damian Harris guy, Zach Lyons here. He's been a Damian Harris truther for about, 7 years now, whenever he started at Alabama. But it's interesting because with Damian Harris, he does have what I don't think is a great matchup for him. And obviously the Patriots always seem to find a way to scheme different things. So he may or may not be the point of focus today. So I'd be, if you're wanting to go safe, then I'd go Deontay and Marvin Jones out of those 3.
Yeah,
I agree with you.
All right, Griff has a question. Non-PPR, Jerick McKinnon or DeAndre Swift?
Non-PPR?
Non-PPR. Non-pro, non-poor, non-PPR.
McKinnon because of the opportunity, because Peterson is still there and playing, but I don't like it.
I don't like the matchup against New England. I'd rather take Swift against Atlanta in a game where we just had a rumor that he was going to get more touches this week after his best game of the year last week against Jacksonville. I don't think you need PPR for Swift to be a big part of their offense today, so I would probably roll with Swift. But again, I think McKinnon's going to be involved too, so those are pretty good options, both of them. New question here from the Notorious again. Mecole Hardman or Christian Kirk?
And by the way, of course, before you started, I do agree. The bye weeks are tough. I had to go through that last week with trying to pick receiver or running backs as well, and it's not a fun place to be in. So you just have to hit those waiver wires, and maybe you were lucky enough to pick up Jamal Williams or something, but I doubt it. So those are tough situations. So on to your question, no, Hardman or Kirk. Kirk did have the long catch last week, and he's
3 targets.
On 3 targets. I get it. That's why hey, look, but Kirk is my sleeper this week. If you watch the fantasy flex, yeah, I do have the sound effects. That's what I bring to the table. So again, this is a big boom chance for Christian Kirk. But if he only gets 3 targets again and they don't pop, then it's a waste of a day.
It's like which one of these guys has a better chance of catching a long touchdown? And in that case, I actually do think it's Kirk because the Broncos are stingy on defense. They get AJ Bouye back today. It's in Denver. Could be a tougher game for the Chiefs, but I mean, all it takes is one play from either guy, right? Meanwhile, Christian Kirk's going up against Seattle. They've been terrible against the pass all year. I think that is the safer, smarter play, but I just don't like Christian Kirk, the player. But good luck with that one. I think you could be okay. J.D. McKissick or Damian Harris? I think I'm rolling with Damian Harris in this one. What do you got?
Flip a coin.
Yeah.
Damian Harris, yeah. Let me flip my coin real quick.
Sorry that we don't have more for you on that one, but that is pretty much just like you're hoping a guy gets a goal line carry in that situation.
Yeah.
Tyler Lockett or DJ Chark? Really? Let me pitch a potential game.
I've been big Lockett guy all season. I think that he's just. And here's the problem. As soon as you start doubting Lockett, you forget how good he is and how good he is with Russell Wilson.
I agree, but let me pitch a potential game script for you. Okay. The Seahawks blow the Cardinals out of the water, and they don't have to throw as much, and Chris Carson has a day.
So here's the thing. I don't think that the Seahawks are going so they may blow their defense out of the water, but I think Arizona is going to be able to get some shots on Seattle's defense as well to keep this thing interesting and close to where Seattle still has to operate a normal offense.
All right. I think you should go lock it over Chark, but Chark is also a very good option this week, and I'm playing him in a DFS lineup against the Chargers.
What if there's questions about the quarterback situation for Chark, though?
That is an interesting point. You are right. So Gardner Minshew may not make it through this game today. We're hearing these rumors. Now, that's either going to have two effects. Either he's going to collapse completely under the pressure, or he's going to go all out, balls to the wall, I have nothing to lose, and be amazing, which could mean Chark has a great day, or it could mean he gets benched at halftime and there's no receivers have any good games.
Well, or Glennon comes in and he relies on one dude to make his plays. And who's the dude you would rely on to make your plays in that offense? Even though Chenault's everything else. I mean, but we can't bank on our advice on a possible quarterback switch. So that's why I'm saying that I think that if you look at the game flow, you make a great point about Seattle destroying Arizona's defense, but I think Arizona is going to bombs for bag on Seattle's defense as well. So I think that's going to be a game, even if it's not close, I think the Seattle still will have to operate a normal offense to try to stay ahead of Arizona.
And Zach's chiming in here that DJ Chark's playing through an injury today.
Thank you, Zach. That's why we miss you.
But he is expected to be a full go through that injury. So just throwing that out there. All right, another question here. This one from Darren Hopkins. We've talked about these two players a bit, so let's get to it kind of quickly. Jamal Williams or Robby Anderson in a full PPR league. I'd probably roll Anderson in that case because I think he gets 10 targets today.
Yeah, he's going to get a ton of targets. And even though what we said about Williams and the matchup he's got, Anderson's going to get a ton of targets. And you
know what? Williams is going to get a ton of targets too, actually, now that I think about it. That's a tough question. That's a tough one too. Williams is going to be massively played today. So if you want to like kind of steer clear of that, in the chance that he has an awful day and everyone's on him, you could be off of him. I still think Robby Anderson's in line for a good day too.
Yeah, that's a good David. I don't know if this is going to get there. Yeah, he's getting it right now, but also the Raiders O-line are missing a player or two. That's a good point.
Yeah, so Trent Brown is. I don't know if he would have had to do a test this morning.
I haven't seen that. I haven't seen the news yet or not, but it wasn't looking great.
So the other four guys that were on the COVID list all came off. They all tested negative. None of them have it. So they're only missing one guy from that offensive line.
They got the third back? Okay.
Yeah, assuming Trent Brown doesn't test positive before the game. If Trent Brown tests negative before the game, he could potentially play, but I don't think he will play because he was positive earlier in the week. But I think I said that wrong. All the other guys that came off the list have to test negative today. Trent Brown's out for sure because he just tested positive. But the other four guys came off the COVID list, so they will play barring a positive test on Sunday morning. Anyway, let's get to David's question. It's cut off here in the show a little bit, so I'll just read it. I appreciate your input he started Travis Fulgham already, so he's got two more to start, full PPR. OBJ, Deontay Johnson, Henry Ruggs, or Robert Tonyan. Robert Tonyan's questionable, so double check his status there. I am out on OBJ until further notice, but going against the Bengals, what do you think?
I think when OBJ is another one of those guys that you're out on him until he does well again, and he has the potential to have big gains, but it's more of that offense isn't going great right now, and Baker's not playing well. So you look at, again, when you're looking at receivers, you're not just looking at the athlete that's a receiver, you're looking at the quarterback as well. And Baker Mayfield kind of has a similar career path so far, like how he arcs through his progressions, much like Fitzpatrick, where he's going to suck at some point in time, then he's going to challenge himself and have an unneeded chip on his shoulder, and then he's going to ball out for 2 games, then he's going to suck, get questions, fight with the media, then ball out again. So how close are we to him balling out again? Because I think it's going to happen at some point.
I think that I'm still worried about his rib injury, and worried about a chance that he takes one big hit and is knocked out of the game, or that they try to protect him by running the ball a lot against a weak run defense in the Bengals. So I'm going to play Deontay Johnson and Henry Ruggs for you there, David.
Yeah, those are the two I'd probably go with as well, just because of the question and Tonyan questionable. Otherwise, I may give him a spin, see if he's feeling good, because he got a lot of targets here recently as well.
Yeah, depending on how healthy he is.
Right.
T. Higgins or CD Lamb? We are big T. Higgins boys on the flex, but CD Lamb with Andy Dalton against Washington's defense. Washington doesn't have a good defense, but their defensive line is really good, and the Cowboys' offensive line is really bad. I think Andy Dalton's going to spend most of this day on his back. I'm going T. Higgins.
Washington's actually been pretty surprising against the pass this year. They're not terrible, so I would fade CD Lamb as much as I've loved CD Lamb this season and potentially has in the future. we're big on T. Higgins. So anytime I see a T. Higgins versus a lot of people, he's going to be the pick. I think T. Higgins is going to have a fantastic day today.
And also, I'm out on the Cowboys offense until they have a good game. Like, they haven't
Right.
had a good game with Andy Dalton. I mean, it's only been one game and the second half, I guess, of that one game. But, like, they looked really bad last week against the Giants, who are not good. So I'm waiting and seeing on the Cowboys offense now. Emmanuel Sanders would be the no-brainer for Notorious, but he's on the COVID list. Is it time to trade Michael Thomas? I don't think so, because you haven't even got to use Michael Thomas really this season yet. You give him up, and then what are you even going to get for him at this point?
Depends on the offer. I mean, honestly, right? I mean, anything can be bought for a price. I mean, everything in life can be bought for a price. I mean, that's just tons of movies have proved that. Everything. I mean, just it happens. So I mean, just really depends on your offer you get back. Maybe throw him on the trade block and see if you get any nibbles on him, and see if you get anything that you could use this season. Because here's the thing is that I know you haven't got to use him, but that's also the problem, right? If you only get to use him for a couple games and he's ramping up and he's trying to get into game shape come the playoffs, and he's still useless even though he's playing.
Yeah, I agree. So let's get to this other question here. We covered two of these players just a second ago, but throwing Robby Anderson into that mix, we've also touched on today. Does he take precedent or preference for you over these guys? I would play Robby Anderson over Higgins and Lamb.
Really?
I'd be tempted
to go with Higgins over Anderson.
I think that we saw last week AJ Green had like 11 targets. So I'm not 100% sure how that Bengals offense is going to go. I know Robby Anderson has DJ Moore across from him, but Robby Anderson continues to just be the target king in that offense.
Then maybe which game are you going to have access to watch and have more fun with? Because I honestly don't think you're going to go wrong with Higgins or Anderson today.
Yeah, I agree. Sam Wright asks Robert Tonyan or Noah Fant today. Fant obviously hasn't played in a bit. He was supposed to come back last week and then was a scratch right before game time.
Fant was my sit this week because Kansas City isn't terrible. I mean, I'm not saying that they're a great defense at stopping tight ends, but they're not terrible. They're kind of middle of the road, but I think that gets amped up a little bit with the fact that Fant is working back off that injury. He was kind of limited in practice this week as well. I mean, I think he's going to be a full go, and he'll probably make me more words. But then you've got Tonyan, who also has an injury.
Right. So if Tonyan goes, I think I play Tonyan against Houston's defense, who just gave up over 100 yards to Anthony Ferkser. That seems like even though Devontae Adams is back, Houston gives up yards over the middle of the field. So that's probably your best play. But Fant, I mean, Drew Lock could be looking for Fant with no Cortland Sutton out there trying to get comfortable back in the offense. And in another league, Sam has a second question. Derrick Henry or Hunter Henry. These are tight ends? Wait, what am I looking at here? Hunter Henry, Jonnu or Tonyan, and Tom Brady or Justin Herbert. Okay. Hunter Henry, Jonnu or Tonyan. Jonnu, right? He's fully healthy.
So he's healthy, but but his matchup,
Robert Spillane.
Yeah, John
Fitzpatrick could be Minka Fitzpatrick.
Yeah, I'm probably rolling Jonnu if I had him and Hunter Henry on my roster, just because I enjoy watching Jonnu and when he's moving in this offense. And again, but the thing to consider with the Titans is they're going to have all their pieces, right? And you already said that Adam Humphries may be the interior target and how his day is. So that's the only thing that worries me about Jonnu is not that the potential or its matchups and maybe not as great, but the Titans may spread the ball a little bit. So he may get his, but he may only get 3 or 4 catches for like 40 yards. So if this is a PPR league, maybe it's 7 points? It's somewhere around there, where Hunter Henry also, there's other targets there. So I lean towards Jonnu just because I think he's the better tight end skill wise.
Yeah, I would go Jonnu too. And then at the quarterback position, Tom Brady, Justin Herbert. Who would have ever thought that'd be a question? But
I know, right?
I said this earlier. I'm a little worried that the Chargers aren't going to need to throw too much, but I would still take Justin Herbert in this matchup against.
Because there's going to be a reason why they don't have to throw too much later, is because they're going to get their points early.
Successful early.
And I think that he's going to hit Mike Williams for red zone shots. Keenan Allen's going to do some work today early, and then they're going to be able to coast. But he maybe get enough points early to make your day for you.
Right. That's how I feel. All right, let's get to the next question here. PPR, lots of injuries. Gio Bernard or DeAndre Swift? We've touched on Swift a lot, so let's talk about Bernard here. Joe Mixon is out. When Mixon has been out, it's been Bernard's backfield. However, the Bengals' offensive line is so bad, and the Browns have such a ferocious front. Coming off a loss, I feel like they're going to be pissed. I feel like Bernard's going to get played a lot in a lot of leagues, in a lot of DFS leagues, but I'm higher on Swift today against Atlanta just because of the matchup and because I don't think that Cleveland's offensive line, or sorry, that Cincinnati's offensive line can keep Cleveland, can open up any lanes. And I saw this like Twitter clip a few weeks ago, but it seems like whenever Joe Mixon catches a pass out of the backfield, he like breaks a couple tackles and picks up yards. And whenever Bernard catches a couple passes
Yeah, I
out of the
remember that.
backfield, he like gets tackled immediately. So like, I don't know if Bernard's got much juice left at this point in his career. So I would go with Swift in that one. Do you have
Plus,
any?
even when he was healthy, Bernard, in this situation popped up where it was definitely his backfield. I had a friend, and maybe this is just recency bias. Maybe I'm not remembering. So please burn me in the comments if not. But just seems like to me that Bernard, more often than not, doesn't step up to the challenge here later in his career when it is just his backfield. Yeah, he gets the opportunities and maybe, but he doesn't have as big of a game as what I think Swift is going to have against Atlanta.
Right.
I'd go Swift as well. Hey, Max, how's it going? Thanks for joining.
Robbie Anderson or AJ Brown? We've touched on both these players a bit, so maybe just give me your preference there.
J Brown.
Yeah, AJ Brown's better in a better offense. Robbie Anderson might have
Close.
a
It's
better
close.
chance
It's close.
because the Steelers defense is no joke.
Right.
Zach says, let's go to Lake Panawana. We can maybe do that in a bit. I'll come back to that in a second. Okay, trade question. Is it time to trade either Jefferson or Thielen? Needs a running back desperately. And which one do you like more long term? Because I think I like Adam Thielen more. Jefferson's a very talented rookie, but is his production sustainable?
Yeah. Which one? This is the thing is which one's going to get you the better running back? Because I think for the short term, I think you can live with it with whatever drop off would be from say Thielen outproduces Jefferson first of the year. Will the running back you get for Thielen make up for the difference that you're going to be losing for Thielen or Jefferson? Does that make sense what I'm saying? So like if you get a running back who's going to make up the point difference, then I think that's what you do. Because I think Thielen is probably going to get you a better running back, and you just live with what Jefferson can give you. But you also have to tell yourself right now, look yourself in the mirror and say, there's going to be games that I can't second guess and kick myself because Thielen outperforms Jefferson. You have to still look at what that running back is doing for you in your desperate needs. So I think desperate times call for desperate measures. I think that if Thielen gets you the better running back, now, if you're in a league with someone who wants Jefferson more, then go with that. I mean, I don't know what your league looks like, and if they have keeper situations, or if they want the younger guys, or if it's a dynasty league or what. So those are things to consider as well.
Yeah, all good points. All good points. But if you need a running back desperately, those are both good guys to use as trade bait to get one. Herbert today, good game versus Jags, and also likes DeAndre Swift. I'm in on both of those things.
Noted Herbert guy all season right here.
All right. As of now, this is our last question. Oh, yeah. As of now, this is our last question. DeAndre Swift, AJ Dillon, or Jamal Williams?
Pick one.
Pick one. If Aaron Jones is out, it's Jamal Williams.
Yeah.
But
I don't think AJ Dillon plays in here.
I think that he may get more carries than he's had yet this year, but it's not going to be enough to be a substantial fantasy day. Maybe he gets lucky and gets in the end zone. Maybe
he's not going to be as active as Williams.
I agree. Maybe he gets all the fourth quarter carries because Green Bay's blowing out Houston. But even then, like you're just counting on garbage time. I wouldn't. So I think Jamal Williams there. And then my second choice is DeAndre Swift, who I also think has a pretty decent game today. Go back really quick to Lake Panawana. Go to is 2 words. That's okay, Zach. I give him a hard time about that all the time. I don't know if you guys heard the story on the Flex about Joe Burrow? Joe Burrow and T. Higgins and their famed trip to Lake Panawana. But if you're interested in this, you can go to shop.broadwaysportsmedia.com and find a Lake Panawana shirt, which if you look up, Ryan, you'll see him putting here on the screen. Pretty cool, right? Lake Panawana, anyway, commemorate the unbreakable bond of Joe Burrow and T. Higgins. Any more questions? We'll hang out for 2 seconds here, run through some DFS lineups while we get our last second questions in. My favorite lineup of the day is actually a Tennessee Titans stack. I have Ryan Tannehill at quarterback, Derrick Henry at running back, Alvin Kamara paying up for my other running back. Went a little cheap at receiver with Marquez Valdes-Scantling, Chase Claypool, and Adam Humphries. Again, this is like a mostly Tennessee-Pittsburgh stack. Hunter Henry at tight end. Jacksonville's been terrible guarding tight ends this year. DJ Chark, who I told you I'm high on this game, and the Bills defense. That's my number 1 lineup. What are you looking at today, DFS-wise?
So my number one lineup that I put in is Kyler Murray at quarterback. So I think you're going to get to see a lot of bobblehead. And again, I think it's going to be air raid against the Seattle Seahawks. I think he's going to put up big numbers, Dave, maybe in a loss, but I think he's going to hit a lot of deep passes. Jamal Williams, just because everything I've read, I don't think that anything different can go there. I think he's going to be your starter. I think he's a must play. Ronald Jones, I am worried that everyone else is playing him, but hopefully my combination with throwing Murray in there is going to be a little different. Ronald Jones, Tyler Lockett, AJ Brown, Keenan Allen. Schultz at tight end's got a great matchup. And as much as we've railed on Andy Dalton, I think he's going to lean on his tight end here in this and hit some of those plays in some red zone. And I think that he's going to probably be your best target for Dallas possibly today. And Todd Gurley in my flex.
I like it.
I'm rolling with the Buccaneers on defense because I think that, again, Las Vegas has had a lot of turmoil this week, and we'll see. I just think the Buccaneers, after what they did to Green Bay, coming into a lesser team, Las Vegas, I think they're going to put up good numbers again today.
And to be clear, I'm playing on FanDuel. Ryan's playing on DraftKings. We got both sides covered there. On FanDuel, the Bucks-Raiders game is not on the main slate because it was originally scheduled for Sunday night. But if you play on DraftKings, you can get that game. We do have 2 last questions here. Let's touch on really quick. Notorious was trying to trade his Minnesota players. It's talking about how it is a Minnesota homer league. How do you think Mecole Hardman will do? I might play him in a tournament FanDuel lineup, but I'm not gonna start Mecole Hardman in a season-long fantasy league this week.
Right.
I think there's a chance he has a big catch, but like his most likely stat line is 2 targets, 1 catch, 13 yards. You know,
you're banking on something that is a low percentage of happening, and if it happens, you look like a genius. But I don't think you can bank on it. And
he's also asking Lindsey over Gordon. I say yes because I think he's more talented. Yeah.
Yeah. But I don't like it though. He's had some tough ones today for him. I feel bad for him. Hopefully he gets some surprises, but he doesn't sound like he's in for a great day with his running back situation.
Isn't that right? All right. Well, if there's no more questions, we had a long show today. We got a lot of questions in today. That was a good one. Thank you guys for tuning in. Be sure to check out BroadwaySportsMedia.com for all of our football coverage, mostly Tennessee Titans coverage, if that's what you are a fan of. But we also have the flex there. We'll be back at halftime of the Titans game to recap the first half action. Not sure who that's going to be quite yet.
Jonathan Warren and myself, I believe.
It won't be me, but it will be you. So you'll be on back at halftime, and then I'll be on, and you'll be on too for the post-game Sunday afternoon roundtable wrap up. We'll get to that. So come back for our live streams later this afternoon. Thank you guys again for tuning in. And we are out. We are out of time.
We're done.
On the fantasy overtime.